Hey y'all, it's me, Ms Fil, and I am in the car, but I'm not driving. I'm actually parked. There's a cement truck parked near me because we're waiting for a ferry. Do you know what a ferry is? It's basically a boat that's really flat that you could drive your car on, and then once you're on it, it floats you somewhere else. So I'm waiting for a ferry, and I thought this would be a great time for me to explain today's lesson for our day 3 of soccer. All right, so like I said, I'm waiting for this ferry, and I have an hour to wait because I just missed the last one, which kind of stinks, but it gives me time to talk to you. So let's talk about the rules of soccer. That's going to be our main topic today. Let's see. So like I said yesterday, I've been playing soccer since I was 5. So I've had a lot of experience, and I've played all different kinds for a lot of years. So I'm going to talk more about the traditional sense or game of soccer, which is outside, okay? So when you hear me talk about all these things, it's primarily with that in mind, playing outside on a big old field, and that's the traditional way that we would play soccer, or like the world calls it, football. So when you're playing a traditional game of soccer outside, so that means out on the grass or on turf, and if you're playing as an adult in a professional kind of league or setting, you're going to play for 90 whole minutes. So the whole game is about 90 minutes. Sometimes it's a little bit longer than that because they do stuff called stoppage time, which we're not going to get into. But the game doesn't have to be just 90 minutes. It could go into overtime, and it could have a couple more minutes as well. But at the elementary level, I think usually most games are about 25-minute halves. So that would be a total of 50 minutes because 25 plus 25 is 50. When you get a little bit older, you might play 30-minute halves or 35-minute halves, or maybe in high school, I remember playing 40-minute halves. And during that game of soccer, you're going to play with 11 people on your team. That's 11 people on each side. So 11 plus 11 is 22. So on one field of soccer during one game, there's 22 people that are playing the game, 11 on each team. You have one person is your goalie, and all the rest of the 10 people are called field players, and they're split up into different positions, and we'll talk about that more tomorrow. All right guys, so I took a pause, and I'm gonna stop teaching for a second because I got on a ferry. It came early, so I got on it, and I'm on it right now. It's moving. My car is off, but I am moving because I am on a ferry. So I'm going to get out of my car so you can see. It might get really windy, so I won't make this super long. But here, look at this. Ms Fil standing, and there's the water, and I'm on a boat. And here's my car. Going back in. So, pretty cool. I'll show you a picture of what I can see right now, and then we'll get back to our soccer lesson. So, there it is. I'm in my car. There's the water. The port's all the way over there, and I got about an hour until I get to the other island. So, if you've never been on a ferry, this is what it basically is. You're on a boat with a bunch of other cars, and you're just floating through the water. Cool. So, this is the first for Ms Fil. I know that I started talking about our video, but this is pretty cool because I've never taught from a ferry before. I've never taught from anything that wasn't land or a building before. So this is awesome. I'm teaching from the water. So let's continue what we're learning about for soccer. So when you're playing soccer for that 90 minutes or however many minutes your game lasts, you have your 11 people on the team, so you plus 10 other people who are your teammates, and your goal is to get a goal. So what you want to do is you want to kick the ball and move the ball by dribbling and having possession and passing so that the ball can go into the back of the other team's net. You want to try to kick the ball past the goalie or get the ball past the goalie because you don't always have to kick it, which we'll talk about in a second. But that is your goal, is to get as many goals as you can. And whoever has the most goals at the end of the game, at the end of the time, whatever time that is, you win. Now, most of us know that you can't use something in soccer. You know what that is? Your hands. You're not allowed to use your hands unless you're the what? The goalie. And guess what? Ms Fil was a goalie and a forward, so I got to score the goals and stop the goals, which was pretty awesome. But everybody who's a field player, so everyone except for the goalie, cannot use their hands. I'll say it a different way. The only person who's allowed to use their hands is the goalie. And if you want to get really technical, a field player, so somebody who's not the goalie, can use their hands when the ball goes out of bounds and they're doing a throw-in. But that's it. You can't use your hands any other time. And guess what? Did you know that a handball in soccer, it's a foul, but a handball doesn't just mean it with just your hand. Did you know that if you hit it with your forearm, so this part of your arm or this part of your arm, if you hit it anywhere on your arm from your fingertips all the way to like where my shoulder starts right here, that's a handball. But you are allowed to hit it with the front of your shoulder, so you can shoulder the ball by pushing it and hitting it right here where I'm touching. That's allowed. But anything past that, can't do it. It's a foul. It's a handball. So we talked about that you can't use your hands, but guess what? That just means that you can use any other part of your body to move the ball and have control of the ball in order to try and score with your teammates. That means you can use your feet, your thighs, which are like by your knees. You can use your chest. You can use your head. And guess what? One of Ms. Phil's favorite ways to hit the ball is using her head. I love diving headers. That means I literally just jump in the air and fly and try to hit the ball with my head. It's super fun, but you have to do it in a safe way. So there's a bunch of other rules about soccer, which we're not going to get into today, but what I want you to know, remember, the very basics of soccer is that it is 2 halves of time. Okay, that time could be different depending on what level you're playing at, but there's 2 halves that make up the whole entire game. You play with 11 people on your team, so 22 people total that are playing on the field, and you cannot use your hands unless you're the what? The goalie. The goalie is the only person that can use your hands unless you're taking a throw-in, which means that the ball went out of bounds, the other team hit it out of bounds, and you get a free throw to throw it back in to start the game again with your team. That's the only time you're allowed to use your hands. But like I said, there are other rules that we're not going to go over today, but I hope that you learned a little bit more about something related to soccer. And I'm going to enjoy the rest of my ferry trip. You can see there's people walking around me. So we'll see what happens on this trip. Maybe I'll put this in the video, or I'll put another little bit in the video. Maybe I'll tell you a story, because I got an hour on here. So maybe I'll think of something else to tell you. But if not, I hope you enjoyed today, and that you come back tomorrow, because we're going to talk about the different positions or the different types of players that you have on your team. But until then, guys, enjoy your day. And that's it. Bye from the ferry.